Hello and welcome everyone to our Landing Academy webinar, Landing Page Optimization for People, Not Visits. I hope you're all doing good. My name is Fernando Flores and I'm Marketing Manager at Lender. Today our speaker, Xavier Colomés, will explain us how to use personas to increase conversions. I hope you'll want to hear what he has to say. I think he's going to give us a really good lesson today. He's a senior web analyst at Intuit UK. He started working in social media in 2009 when he graduated as a brand community manager. He worked for Buyer Euro Service from 2006 until 2010 as a web and development consultant. From December 2010 to May 2011, he was responsible for web analytics, SEO and social media strategy of Mundo Deportivo, and he has his own blog, which I recommend, Conversion Garden, where he writes about social media, web analytics, and SEO. Hello, Javier. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for having me today.
No, please. It's an honor for us to have you here. And I think if everyone is listening, okay, I think we can start with the webinar. If anyone has a question, please let us know using the question box, or you can use our hashtag Landing Academy on Twitter to let us know. Okay, I have some messages that say the sounds it's good, that they can hear very clearly, so I think we're good. So it's all yours.
Perfect. Thank you very much for inviting me. And hello, as Fernando explained, I'm web analyst in Intuit. I've been in marketing online for the last 4 years in different roles. But let's talk about the topic today, because before starting, I want to step just 1 minute and say why are we here? Because I'm sure that you have much better things to do today at any time that we are in different time zones. But why are we here? Because we share the same goal: improving our businesses or online businesses. Some people will use the acronym Conversion Rate Optimization, CRO. Some other use Conversion Optimization. Whatever the word is, what we want is to increase the number of converting users. So all of you have a website or work in a website for a company, or have a company that has a website, and you are struggling to improve. It's getting tough. More competitors, users' needs are changing every day, and you really need to improve. So there are many different frameworks or methodologies or ways or roadmaps to improve your online business. I show you here one of the ones that I see with different shapes and different flavors, but most of the times is about research, and this implies having qualitative. Sorry for my English, it's improving. Qualitative and quantitative data, having all together, analyzing it, trying to identify patterns, and mixing traffic sources with goals and voice of customer data with what's happening in our website. So analyzing all together, and what's the output of this? This is hypotheses which are the most important thing for optimizing, because experimenting and testing, now everyone is talking about testing. Testing is not less or no more than putting this hypothesis to the test and say, okay, what I think, what I analyze, what I believe the data is telling me, is it right, is it not? And the output is learning. So the final result of this process is learning, and learning may imply doing a change, not doing it, creating new hypotheses. I've read this I think it was yesterday, someone's bio in Twitter, and it say, you never lose. You win or you learn, but you never lose. And I thought that it's so testing, because when you do this process and you end with a test, you always learn something. If the test doesn't work, you know you don't need to spend more time in that. Okay, so this is the process why we are here, and we are trying to get these results. Okay, the problem is not experimenting anymore, and thanks to tools like Lander app, now experimenting, doing tests, doing A/B tests is so easy. I mean, most of you are already customers of Lander. You know how it works. You create a landing page within minutes. You create a variation. You design the best experiment for your hypothesis, and there you are running and putting your hypothesis to the test. The problem that you have is what to test, and I know it. I know it because I'm there with you, and you know, testing can be a time-consuming effort, and we want to optimize our testing as well. So what we are going to learn today is one technique. One technique, again, with different flavors. I will show you 3 different ways of working with personas. The proper, the right way. It's a bit complex. I'm not going to lie. You can take a little of time, but of course, it's the best way to do personas, and 2 other models that you can start using right now. But because right now I'm afraid that most of you are testing A, what the boss says, B, what your competitors are doing. This is, I mean, it happens to everyone. Your boss will come and say, okay, the competitors have done this, test it, okay? So this is not always the best way to fill our testing plans. And C, using best practice from infographies and posts, and my goal today is to teach you something different so you can fill your test plan. Okay? I hope you are very excited now with all these expectations created. Okay? So we are going to use personas to fill our testing plans. That's about it. So why personas? And now I will define precisely what persona is, but why this model? Because, you know, we already have Google Analytics or Web Analytics or Site Catalyst, Bibli, whatever you're using, data, and it's telling us which browsers are our customers using or users using, operating system, landing page, specific source, keyword, what city do they come from. We already know that. This is what in the title of the presentation we say conversion rate optimization for people, not visits. Optimizing for visits can be misleading because what's behind these visits? Now let's meet Gina. Okay, Gina is in someone's dashboard, as I'm sure she was browsing something. In someone's dashboard, Gina is a number, a browser, a operating system that can be exactly the same than Thomas. And what's the problem with that? That they are in the same bucket, in the same segment, in the same report, but the way that we are going to grow our business, selling them or getting them to give us their contact data, at least whatever, it's very different because they are different and they have an important concept, which is the mental model. They have different mental models and they are driven by different motivations. Okay, I think it's everyone knows this and understands it, that our audience is different. And you also know that we cannot make a website for each of them. Okay, it's not possible. So that's the answer. Why personas? Because we want to grow our business. We want to test new hypotheses to impact the persona or the people behind our metrics, but we need a framework that allows us to make it, you know, in in a way that we can actually make it. Okay. So what are personas? Personas are I am gonna read the one of the definitions by Kim Godwin. She's a very famous designer in Cooper, one of the most, if not the most, designing companies. Actually, Alan Cooper was one of the first to put all together the personas framework in the late 90s. So they say, personas are archetypes that describe the various goals and observed behavior patterns among your potential users and customers. Again, personas are archetypes that describe the various goals and observed behavior patterns among your potential users and customers. So it's not about browsers and landing pages, it's about behavior. It's about potential users. It's about people motivations, okay? And here you have in your screen, I think that the best way to talk about what personas are is to visualize it. And this is a real example. You have the link from the blog that talks about this case. This is a case in Yahoo. So what you have here is 3 different archetypes. This is not real people. It's important. This is not real people, okay? And second thing important to know about personas. This is not a demographic segmentation, okay? In the previous example, Gina and Thomas, they could be the same persona. If they want that model, if their motivations, they have the same behaviors, they will be the same persona. So persona is a model, is an archetype, okay? It's someone that doesn't exist, okay? And we use for 2 things: to make hypotheses about how to optimize our website and to do changes, okay? So if you ever have been in, I mean, you have been for sure in a meeting where someone says about a website design or a change or a landing page, whatever, someone says, oh no, or users don't like social media buttons, or users decide by price, make it cheaper, or users don't like this picture. You have to stop this kind of conversations because we are biased by your behavior. So if I'm someone that needs lots of detail and lots of data before purchasing, let's say, a camera, a photo camera, I will always recommend what I think is best for me. And this is what sometimes our bosses or hippos or colleagues or stakeholders do. They think what they like, and we are not alike. So that's one of the main things of using personas. And here I love this picture. I really, really love this picture because here you have the guys in Yahoo using their personas, and you have these triptychs, these leaflets with, it's like a cheat guide, and they are not talking about average user, which of course doesn't exist. They are talking, okay, what Rob will do here. They say here in the whiteboard that Rob is casual user, event-driven, social gathering, takes a lot of peaks. Okay, it's a model. It's a model, and when they need to change something, they say, okay, how is it impacting Rob? How is it impacting Lisa? How is it impacting whoever? Okay, so this is very, very, very useful. Let me stop 30 seconds here because I want to talk, because now I'm sure that you are like, wow, how would I know if I'm defining the right personas, okay? The thing is that the success of this exercise, of this approach, of this technique, you will see it in the testing. I mean, this is meant to fill your testing plans, to help you take better decisions. If the decisions are right or not, it's not how you make the personas. You will find out when you make a decision based on that persona and you see it's changing the conversion rate, it's doubling it, hopefully, the experimentation layer, the stage will tell you if it's well done or not well done. Okay, I just wanted to mention it because I know that we are worried about, okay, but how do I know if it's right or wrong? Okay, so it's an iterating process, it's a learning process. You will know when it comes to testing. Okay, let's see this persona detail, and we'll see if you decide you want to do the personas the right way, the more time-consuming way, but of course more long-term. Think that this is an exercise that you don't need to do every month, not every year. Maybe every year you want, but it's a one-time exercise that will give you, and it's not going only to help your website. It's going to help all the layers of your business. So let's take a detail to this case, okay, from a online shoe store. Here we have Brandley Tyler, and well, she says, this is a persona who is not deciding by price. She has a tiny feet, and she wants to find shoes that fit their feet. And think about it a second with all the context that we've been talking. How many things could we do or could we test in our landing pages of this company if we defined this persona? How will we show the numbers? How will we show the product, the copywriting, the display, the options that we're giving, the layout of the page? Well, a lot, isn't it? What elements does this persona have? Has a name, a picture, very important, a picture to have a better emotional involvement with the persona. A background. Sometimes it's a text, or it can be just demographic info. A quote, motivations, goals, and frustrations. And I think that this is the most important part. Motivations, goals, and frustrations. What's the difference between motivations and goals? Goals are what Brandy knows that she wants to. Motivations are why she wants to. And we are completely aware of our goals. So her goal is to find a shoe that fits her feet. But maybe she's not always that aware of her motivations. There's a common example that it's joining a gym, a club, a gym. Maybe my goal and your goal to join the gym, the goal is the same, join the gym. We know that that's what we want to do, and when we are browsing a website, we know what the goal is. But the motivation maybe for me is to lose weight, and yours is to keep in good shape, or for health reasons, or because your back is hurting. So we have an example of how identifying motivations. It's not easy, of course, but trying to get there really will give us another point of view of our website performance. Okay. In this case, this persona is filled with some real customers' data. So we'll see the process to get here. It includes interviewing people, and I think it's a very good practice when working with personas, adding some real life commentaries, some real people commentaries. We are talking, of course, about the complex way to do personas.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you. Just one question we're having here is, when should I create my personas? I mean, I know you've been talking about it, but put in before I start my business, I mean, I have my idea before I build my website, what would you recommend?
My answer will be now. Now, whatever the stage that you are, I mean, if you're already created a website, then you will like to have this exercise, this kind of process, internal. Of course, this is a team process, and think about what could you do different in your landing page. And it's not, we are not talking about a complete redesign. Small tests in that line. So, okay, let's say you are optimizing this shoes website, and you define this persona now, and you say, okay, let's make easier for our customers, like, I don't remember her name, sorry, like she to find the number of the shoes, and you start testing, and it will tell you if you are going the right way. And if you are working in your business model, in your website, you probably will be interviewing people, stakeholders, not only customers, but people in the sector, experts. It's a perfect time to start gathering the kind of data that you will see now, to start building your model in the very beginning, okay? But I would say, whatever the stage you are, it's something that you can start doing now.
Great, thanks.
So, if you are convinced that this is something that will really give you the best test to experiment and to grow your business, if you want to do it the right way, then this slide is not going to help you much, because it's just a summary, as you can imagine. You have plenty of books, plenty of great companies that can help you if you want to do it yourself. I don't think that it's right or wrong exercise. You will learn a lot doing it, and you may not have the best experience, but just trying to get there, just trying to define your 3, 4, 5 personas will teach you a lot, okay? So if you decide to do it this way, then you will start researching and identify the main roles accessing your website, interviewing 10, 20 users may be enough. You can use surveys, focus groups, observation. My point here is that don't stick to a closed methodology, and maybe some UX or user experience or designer is thinking I'm crazy, but I really believe that you can improve your website using personas with different sources of data, because I think it's the output of this exercise is about thinking different, changing the mindset on over your website. Okay, once let's imagine that we did these 20 interviews, which is the best way. So if you ask me what's the best way, interviewing for sure. Then I will say, oh sorry, I'm not. This is the Kim Goodwin's model from Cooper. Then it's modeling, and modeling it's very, very interesting. What you do is you put all the data, group it by roles, and you have to identify behavior variables. So when someone does something and says why he or she does it, you identify this as a behavior. And behaviors get together to identify patterns. And well, and this is like finding patterns. And you see, okay, this role, I identify 3, 4, 5 different patterns. This is going to be the core of your personas. Then you will fill a template. You will create a narrative. You will use, as we saw, your real user data to fill it. Okay, and this will give you the very first persona. It sounds like easy said this way, but again, just research about it, because you will find plenty of books, blogs that talk about how to create personas a better way. And I'm sure that there are many different ways to do it. Once you have them, you will discuss with your team, of course. You will try to match your web analytics data, design scenarios. So one of the best uses of personas is creating scenarios. What will Lisa do here? What will Amber do here? And this helps you a lot to take design decisions and, in your case, testing decisions. Okay? So this was the complex way.
Javier, I'm here again interrupting you, but I think
please do.
Simon had a question that you were just talking about it, I think, because he's asking, how is a persona different or the same as a traditional view target customer? And I think what you were just saying is part of the answer, right?
Yes. So the thing with target customers is that we use one criteria of segmentation. So we segment our customers or target them by traffic source, by gender, by age. Okay. Personas is not about segmenting, because segmenting is one variable. Whether you are man or woman, you are from 20 to 25 or from 25 to 30. Personas is much more complex. It's much, actually the demographic layer is not so important, of course, depending on the industry, the business and the product. But what really makes the difference persona is to build around a behavior, identified behavior, a set of human characteristics, so it's easier for us as designers or optimizers to work with that. I hope this solved your question.
I think so.
It's very, very different than segmenting.
I think Simon, in case you need further explanation, you can ask me. We can talk it at the end of the webinar in the Q&A section. Okay. So okay.
Very good question, Simon. Very good question. So at the end, personas is about research data, analysis, and a human presentation. Actually, it's good timing for this. So, okay, I know this can be overwhelming, okay? It's for me. I mean, if I had to do this, hopefully, in my company, this is done. They already have the personas, and it's awesome. It helps me as web analyst. That helps all the company. But I know that it can be like, oh, that's maybe too much now. Because maybe you don't have the time, you don't have the skills, you are a small company, growing now, a startup, you don't have the learnings for starting interviewing people. Maybe you don't have the resources. Or maybe you just don't need it. I mean, think about the size of your company. Maybe personas, of course, is something that it's always welcome, but maybe you are, for whatever reason, not needing this complex exercise. So what we're going to see now, there's a skill that you can do, okay? And we are going to see two models that can help you when you don't have whether the time, skills, resources, or need of such a complex model. Said so, personas is what we've seen until now. What we are going to see now is not personas, okay? It's different, but will help you, because the cost of doing nothing, the cost of keep testing what your competitors are doing is much more higher than trying to do this, okay? And again, this is about a mindset. This is about changing the way we understand the numbers, the people behind the numbers in our website, okay? So what's the first thing that you can do? Goal-oriented personas. And I quote personas because they are, of course, not completely developed personas. But if you ask me, what's the very first thing that I should do as conversion rate expert or optimization manager in my website, will say I'm completely 100%. My recommendation is to ask with Kuala-Ru or 4Q or now Perceptions, to ask this question to your visitors. What did you come to, or what did you come to our site today to do? And an open field, okay? Depending of the purpose of the question, most of the times we want bullet points, so it's easier to analyze. But in this case, we want feedback, and we want to know, why are you come? Why did you come here? I've done it several times, and this is awesome. And if you guys have done it, you know what I'm talking about. There are many concerns about who is responding, the response rates, and you don't need 1,000 responses. With 50 responses, you can have material, you can have stuff to start working and start feeding your hypothesis and understanding your web analytics, putting a context to your web analytics data. Your web analytics data is telling you you have a high bounce rate, but you don't have an idea. Why? Because you don't have this personas mindset. So to work with goal-oriented personas, my first recommendation is to start with one of these surveys, okay? Visit purpose. Then, once you do this, you should populate a table like this, okay? Role, goal, motivation. Of course, you don't have this info because we are assuming that we don't have the resources to interview our customers. But we're going to do an educated guess, okay? Based on what? Based on what our customer service is telling us, what our stakeholders are telling us, what are the people surrounding us, the feedback tools that we have, the logs of the chats that we have online, any piece of qualitative data that is voice of customer will help us to try to populate this cell, okay? Persuasion strategy, so if we know the goal and we can try to guess what's motivating that role, what persuasion strategy we need to use to have them converting, and what's the call to action that triggers action to these goal personas. So let's use this example. If robot could be whatever, and let's think, each of you thinking your website, for those who don't have a website, let's think about this. Okay, we don't have this qualitative data, but what's people coming to do here? I mean, of course we need the qualitative data, but we can start doing some educated guesses with all together. And of course I'm inventing this, but I want to show you what's the result of this. So we have a buyer, John, someone who comes to buy. So the goal is to buy the product, motivated by cool gadgets to show off. His motivation is that it's technology, it's awesome, it's cool, you do nothing, it moves around your place, okay? So the perception strategy that we will use is to focus on the ease of use and the high technology behind it. How can we translate this to a test? So instead of having this cold picture focused on the product, we will have another picture, or we will test having another picture with a cool, fashion, flat, modern, with nice views of whatever, very aspirational, very fashion, very cool, like sending the message to buyer John that, hey, yes, we know your motivation, and if you are looking for something fancy to show off, this is the product, okay? Connecting with his motivations. And the call to action could be something likely to be the first. I'm doing this without any data, okay? So, but I know you understand the reasoning behind it. We could have another role, another goal, but again, with a different motivation. Trust, confidence, trust in the product, confidence that it's the right solution. So the persuasion will be different and the call to action will be different. The question here is that we need to feed as many as possible. So that's why we are working always with 3 to 5 personas, because it's very difficult to make a web page, a landing page that fits the needs of 10 different personas. So we need to identify or 3 to 5, so we can do content that fits for all of them, and we will see an example later of that. Okay, so Xavi, I don't have the time. I can't interview 20 customers. Okay, but you can use the voice of customer data that you have. You can talk with your partners, your colleagues in the customer care department, and you can start populating this table. And again, doing some tests, and the test will tell you if you are in the right path or not. Okay. Another model, a very, very, very good model. This model is stated by Bryan Eisenberg in a couple of his books, which I mean, I must say that I was a web analyst, data, clickstream data oriented, and the book that changed my life completely and my point of view on marketing online was Call to Action, which I strongly recommend you. And in a couple of his books, he talks about these buying personas. So if we know nothing about our visitors, we don't have a telephone, a chat log, okay, use this model. And this model is done with a lot of research. There's a lot of research behind. It's not a new model. It has many years. I don't know exactly the day when it was created, but it studied thousands of people, how we behave and how we decide our purchases. Depending if we are deciding more fast or more slow, we are more logic or more emotional at the time to make decisions, we are in one of these 4 buckets. Of course, we are not completely 100% competitive, but this is a model that really helps to understand the different personalities behind anyone, not only your users. Okay, so if you are logic deciding and fast deciding, you are a competitive buying personality, buying persona, whatever you want to call it. So chances are that you are impatient, you don't want to lose time, you want always the fastest, the biggest, or the smallest, but the best. You are challenging a leader, and I'm doing this thing so terrible, which is reading the, the slides, sorry. But you get the sense of a competitive. How can we get our competitive users to convert in our landing page? We will need to use words like new, exclusive, just arrived, percentage, 30% faster, facts, cool facts that they say, okay, this is what I'm looking for. There's always, for competitive users, there's always a piece of data or something that will trigger them to move. They are fast deciders, remember that, okay? Think for 10 seconds, we are good on time, in your landing page, the landing page that is driving you more sales, and think how competitive users are connecting to it. How I'm thinking in them when in my copy, in my pictures, in my layout, in my offers. Okay, think about it. Spontaneous. They are fast deciders as well, but they are emotional. So this is a argument or a conversation that I've had different times, and I'm sure that you have had as well. Putting or not putting buy now in your button. So you need, if you have this personas approach, you will understand now that putting the now, buy now in the button will work with some people. For slow thinkers, it's not going to work. But for spontaneous people, will work. So when you do a test and you increase your conversion rate, think about your hypothesis, and if you have, think about your personas and try to put a context to what happened. So, oh, I had more spontaneous users than I thought, and this change really helped me to increase conversion in spontaneous personas. The very next test that you are going to decide is going to be in this line. So it's about learning, the output of conversion optimization. And this is the kind of thinking that I really recommend you having towards conversion rate optimization. So spontaneous, easygoing active, they buy now, think later, and they don't want to be overwhelmed with facts. So first problem, how we combine methodical users will see now that like facts with spontaneous. This is the kind of conversations that we need to have and we need to solve. How to convert them?
Xavi, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting again.
Yes.
But Miriam was just asking, how do we talk to the 4 different personas in the same landing? And I know you're going there just in a minute, but I thought it was good to let you know that she was asking exactly that, you know? And I think that's what most of our attendees are thinking right now. How do I do to speak to each one of them in the same landing page, or if I have to think of different landing pages for each one of them? What do you think?
Absolutely, I understand the question, and when I was reading about this the first time a couple of years ago, I was like, yes, but you only have one website or one landing page. You only have one call to action in the button. So this is the challenge. No one said that it was going to be easy, but you have to find the solution, because some people or some marketers have the approach of focusing on one persona, on one kind of user, and they have results. But the approach that I'm trying to show you here is different. It's trying to connect with different intentions, okay, with different personas, and in the same page, having elements for each of one. And as Fernando said, we will see that as you will have the presentation, I will move a little faster now, because spontaneous is very easy to understand. Methodical is very easy to understand. It's these people who will read the footer of your web page. I mean, they will read everything. And I think I like methodical because they are easy to identify in web analytics, because you're looking for a segment of people with a long average time on page, visiting your facts page, visiting the details if you have tabs with specific details. These are the users. So there's something you can do. You can try to identify, okay, what a methodical user will do in my website, and try to create a segment for it. And it's fun, and it will help you a lot to understand and to optimize this segment. Okay? So methodical users, logic and slow thinkers, they need lots of that. They need to be very sure that the decision is the correct. So they need comparison tools, detailed fact sheets, reviews from experts. Methodical users, another argument that I'm sure you've already had, why are reviews for, who are they impacting? Chances are that methodical users are not influenced by other customers' opinions, but of course you need them for the next users that we will see, which are humanistic. And humanistic, I must say that I'm a humanistic user, and Bryan Eisenberg once said something that was awesome, because he said humanistic users are the visitors that go to the who we are page, because I'm a humanistic buying persona wants to know about the people behind the business. And I'm like this. I'm the kind of guy that when I see the faces of the people where I'm buying from, somehow I feel like more likely to purchase from them. So do you have your company history? You have a page where you're talking about your values. If you're not, you're missing humanistic personas sales. So this is like this. So this is as actionable, as this. Okay. So humanistic, emotional and slow, believes in what others say, wants to be sure that. So methodical wants to be sure that this is the right call, the right decision. Humanistic is more concerned about this is what people do. So we need to have trendy, popular rankings, whatever. Okay. And now let's see all together because I think it's straightforward. Of course, you can Google Bryan Eisenberg for buying personas, or even better, buy his books. And you will learn a lot from him, much better than me. I just want to give you a hint, a glimpse of it. Okay. This page, as you can see, has been done with Lander App in minutes. It's awesome. You know, I was a developer for many years, and to make a website like this, now see you guys doing this in minutes, it's kind of frustrating, but great that we can. So, give an overview to the, do you identify how different buying personas will impact in different elements? Are you trying to do it? Okay, I will help you a little bit. Okay, so in blue, Humanistic, 28 opinions, the rating, the icons for liking it or putting it as favorite. So a Humanistic, a Methodical or a competitive persona will never put something in a wish list or a public wish list. And if your boss is methodical or competitive, when you propose him, we need to create a wish list or whatever, we'll say, no, it's not going to work because he's biased by his persona. But Humanistic and spontaneous really do these kind of things. People is different, okay? And thanks to this model, we know. Free shipping is for spontaneous users, obviously. Product description, what do you think? Methodical, of course. These 10 issues have 30% less friction. This is for both methodical because it's data, but it's also competitive. It's the less friction shoes that you will find, okay? So this is an example. You put this to a test and you start changing, okay, leveraging your different personas and finding the right path to go. Okay, so this is, we've seen personas, we've seen roles personas, and buying personas, which are a great way to start feeding your test plans and your testing roadmap in a different way. I'm sure you'll be like excited now about this and thinking all the things that you can start testing right now with Lander App. Just a little summary, where to begin, okay? Apply the 4 buying personalities. The easiest, you don't have to research about your users. You apply existing model. Start testing it. Start creating hypotheses based on that, okay? And you will see it work. I promise it work. It will work better than changing the size of the button or putting, I call it maybe testing when you test things because you want to see what happens if. It's maybe testing, but it's not, maybe works once, but it's wasting time most of the time. So after you do this, you identify the main roles accessing your website. You start an online survey, as we saw with Qualaroo or 4Q or whatever tool. You meet with your customer service team. You start improving the process with some real data because your business is different. You already know that. And then interviewing 5 customers and 5 prospects. Then you can start creating your website personas and start testing different in a way that I promise it's going to work very, very, very well. And that's pretty much it. I think we saw 3 different ways to start working with personas, and I'm sure that you are not listening to me now anymore because you are thinking in what can you do for your website, applying this new mindset, this new approach that I'm showing to you. Please, I will be pleased to answer any questions, any details that you need, any references, whatever you need. And thank you very much for attending.
Okay, thank you, Javier. I think it was really, really cool. And we have a few questions here. Someone is asking about images and colors in the landing page, and she says, images are very important for the spontaneous people, right? And how should I use different colors to impact different personas? What would you tell her about it?
Wow, that's a difficult question. I think that you are going to succeed much more with pictures. Pictures are very, very, very important. I will say that pictures and copywriting are even more important sometimes than usability. And yeah, I know what I said. I just said that copywriting and images, sometimes it's more important than usability. Of course, if you have a usability barrier that refrains your customers from buying, it's the number one problem. But my point is that if you really connect with someone and match their intention, you understand their motivation, and really create the momentum to drive them to action. I've seen people trying to buy for 10 minutes and succeeding, because there's nothing like the willpower of doing it. So I will work more in the pictures than in the colors. I don't know how much the colors can affect, can match different personalities or personas.
Yeah, I remember reading Pep Laya's post in his blog, Conversion Excel, about colors, and he was saying about the same, that colors, sometimes people get too much focus on colors, and it's not the main issue in their landing pages or websites. I think I agree, just like you were saying. Images are important. I'm not sure if colors will change everything. And okay, Richard here has another question. He says, would this strategy be useful for pages which are advertising sign up for an application, not selling anything just yet?
Sorry, can you repeat, please?
Yeah, he says, what I think is that he's just advertising. Oh, he says, I'm running my first MVP as a website and allowing sign-ups for lead generation. I mean, he's not selling yet, but he's getting some sign-ups. He has. I bet he has a form, and he wants to build his list before he launch his.
So what I will say is think about your goal is clear. You want people to fill this form and to become leads, but think what they want from you and what different personas want from you. So when we are talking about lead generation, it's very, very interesting to think about how understanding what they want from me, I can put this in a copy, in a line, in some text that drives them to action.
Okay. What I can tell Richard is that we have a few posts in our blog that can help you about MVP landing pages and a coming soon website that you could find useful too. Just give it a look. I think it could be useful. Okay, let's see if someone has another question. No, I think we're good. I mean, I'm sure many of you will finish the webinar and say, "Oh, I should ask something." Okay, we'll have that space. Thank you. Would you like your thoughts on the landing page? Okay, would like your thoughts. Okay, Richard is sending us his website. Okay, we'll give it a look, Richard. And for every one of you that has a new question, you can do it in our blog post. It will be online in a few days with Xavier presentation and a recap of the most important parts of his webinar. Okay, so thank you, Javier, for being here and for giving such a great webinar and for all your...
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you were really kind with us, and so I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. It's been great for me. I really enjoyed doing it.
Yeah, I think we all did, and some people here they are asking about the presentation. Yeah, it will be online in the blog post. We'll send you an email when it's live, so wait for it. And thanks everyone for being here today, and we'll be having a new webinar next month, so stay tuned.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you again, Javier.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you for thinking of me. Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.